Evening everybody, thank you very much for tuning in to the latest video. I know it's been a little bit late, I do apologise. I actually just done my first interview last night. It's a small question and answer. I think it's only on for about 45 minutes, I can't quite remember. But I'll certainly be posting the link to that just as soon as the interviewer has edited it and gotten back to me and sent it to me. So I'll get that sent out there. I would also just like to say thank you for 6,500 subscribers now. It's just craziness, and I thank every one of you for doing that, and obviously trying to spread the message about this to see if we can't maybe instigate some change. So I really do appreciate that. I also just like to say as well that I had to re-upload another video. There was obviously some security issues on it that people were pointing out, so I had to edit that. Apologies to anyone that left a comment that was maybe getting some advice or maybe had a question or something like that. If you were one of those people, just leave the question in these comments for this video and I'll get back to you. Or alternatively, you might want to just get in contact with me through Instagram. That might be better for you. So I'll just bash on now and get on with today's video. So I did say that I was going to start, obviously once I've got the DWP stuff out of the way, although there's still some things I'd like to get into with that, I'll come back to that. I know people have been waiting on this one, so I'll just do this one now. I've titled it Fasting, Losing 9 Stone and How to Change Your Life. And I'm just going to go through the story as to what I done to get rid of the 9 stone that I'd mentioned, because it's obviously it's not a nice place to be when you're overweight, and I don't know about anyone else, but anytime anyone used to mention it to me, I always used to say that it didn't bother me. I like being like this. But the truth is that was a lie. I was just saying that to save face. That was never the case. I always wanted to lose weight. In fact, I tried it many times, and I just couldn't ever do it. And I was always told that it was people, oh, you're just drawn that way. You'll never lose weight, and oh, it's your genetics. It's just the way you are. Suck it up, sort of thing. And I kind of thought to myself, well, I did actually start to believe that after a while. However, when I compared it to my eating habits, which I was at times in denial about, there was obviously something else going on with it. Now, I say this to most people, but the worst time to eat something is just before you go to bed. And anyone I've spoken to who's had these issues, it's remarkable how many of them are exactly on the same sort of lifestyle as what I was on. So what I used to do was I would like overload at night and eat a lot right up until you go to bed. In fact, I used to do it so much that when I stopped it, I couldn't sleep for the first 3 weeks when I was withdrawn from it. But anyway, I used to overload and it is addictive. I'll go into that in a second. And then what you would do is you would wake up in the morning and you obviously wouldn't be that hungry because you'd overloaded the night before. And I used to sort of start having my first thing to eat maybe just before the afternoon or maybe about 1 o'clock, so it would be like brunch. And that's the worst thing you can do because you start eating at that point and then all you do is you carry on. Well, I did anyway. I'd carry on eating right the way through 5 o'clock, obviously at dinner time. And then obviously, and actually I should probably mention in 2017 I was doing a shift where the times that you were eating were all out of whack anyway. I mean, you got a break at 6 o'clock, but it was just a short break, which meant you had to have your main meal when you came in at 9 o'clock at night, which is no good. So that was obviously an issue, but it's a difficult thing to do. But eating at night and stopping eating at night is absolutely pivotal in getting the weight off you, because, and I said this to my uncle a couple of weeks ago, if you eat straight before bed, and I heard this from a doctor, that you're technically not sleeping, you're actually passing out because your organs are still working, they're still processing the food, which means you're not actually sleeping. As I mentioned, you're passing out. So that's obviously going to have a double effect on you. It's going to have the effect that especially if it's junk food you're eating, it's a triple effect. But the double effect is that you're loading up on food before you sleep. That means you're obviously not, your organs are processing it, but you're not moving around or burning any of it off because you're sleeping. And then obviously, it's obviously got the other aspect to it, which is when you're obviously not getting proper sleep. Now, my sleeping habits were way out of whack, and that was another reason for mental health problems. I'll go into that in this video as well. I'll stick with the trajectory for now though. So when I decided, and I'll like I said, I was in denial about my weight, and when I was doing that shift I mentioned there, that's obviously contributed to it. But where I was working at the time, they decided they wanted to do a medical on me, and well, they decided it's just part and parcel of employment. So I'd done this medical, and I remember just before it, and I was thinking to myself, I knew I was overweight, obviously, and in denial about it, but I knew I was overweight. I didn't think I was the weight I was by the time the end of the medical came. I'll come to that in a second. I actually thought I was going to have hearing problems or something like that. I didn't think it was right. Well, anyway, I went in there, and he'd said to me, he said, Alan, everything with regards to your health is exactly what it should be. He said, there's only one thing that concerns me, and I'd said, what's that? And he said, it's your weight. And I said, well, how, what is my weight at the moment? And he looked at his sheet and he said, 126 kilo. And I had thought, right, 126 kilo, that didn't mean anything to me because I didn't know the ratio. So I asked him, I said, so what weight's that in stone? And he said, you're, and I'll never forget the way he said it, you're 20.6 stone. And I was like, I went dizzy. I still to this day can't remember what was said in the sort of minute after he'd said that to me. It wasn't till I'd sort of came back to, and I thought, geez, oh. And he did say to me, he says, I can see you're a little bit shaken up by that. And I said, well, yeah, I'm a bit shocked. I mean, I thought I was maybe 16, 17, maybe pushing 18. So to be told you're actually three stone or almost 3 stone above the weight that you were told, that was pretty hard to accept, and I staggered out of that office that day. I'll never forget it. And I mean, I didn't make many changes. I just felt really bad about it, and actually started to eat more. I remember on the Friday night we used to do a 12-hour shift, and I used to spend £20 on junk food and think nothing of it and eat it all before the shift was done. It's just madness. So I continued to do those sorts of things, and you're obviously, because they don't call it comfort eating for no reason. You're comfort eating because you're stuffing your feelings, and I didn't understand that at the time, but by golly do I understand that now, because that's exactly what you're doing. And I'd obviously kept stuffing my feelings because of the news that I'd got. Anyway, some months after that, I think it was only about 3 or 4 months after that, I ended up losing the job. And I'll not go into it now, it's silly stuff, like, but I may later on, like, but it was just stupid stuff. Well, anyway, obviously I was devastated, and I thought to myself, what am I going to do now? Seriously overweight. I didn't have a driving licence at the time. I wasn't doing any extracurricular activities, and hadn't really done any since I'd left school. It was just all going wrong, and I was feeling really, really bad about myself. So again, I still did it. I mean, I was still reading. I'm still reading books, etc. And that was one good thing at least. And as long as you are doing one good thing, then just sort of try and keep going forward and not think too much about the bad. Just try and concentrate on the good. But eventually, when I lost it, again, comfort eating, you're stuffing your feelings, and you're in denial about it as well. Because the problem with it is that you don't actually feel the weight going on. I mean, you obviously know you're putting weight on, but well, if you'd told me that I was 21 stone when thinking I was 16, 17, I wouldn't have believed you, and that's obviously what I'm saying here. It's very difficult to sort of feel it going on to yourself. It's only, I mean, even the people that you see every day don't really notice it straight away. It's just usually people you maybe don't see for a year or 6 months or whatever, and they say, geez, oh, look at the weight that you've put on. And then you think to yourself, have I really put on that much? Yes, you have. Well, anyway, this happened with me, and I kept stuffing my feelings, and by this time I'm just getting in it about Christmas at 2017, and I'd gotten a Christmas present. It was a jacket, and I hadn't really seen it. My uncle, he was in that bought me it for a while, and he had got me an extra large jacket. And I'll never forget this, and my mum had said to me as well, she said, you're obviously putting a lot of weight on, and I was in denial, and it's not that bad. And then this was just a couple of weeks before I'd gotten this gift. So I got the gift, and I'll never forget it. I tried it on, and this was an extra large jacket. It was a Bergos, which is usually quite bigger. I couldn't zip it even quarter of the way. I mean, I've put extra large jackets on before, and it's been a little bit tight, and I've had to lose weight or whatever. I mean, my weight's been up and down for years, but at this point, I'd never ever try to put an extra large jacket on without being able to zip it up, and that was really hard to accept. Because I couldn't zip it up, I could only zip it up about halfway, and that was when I realised that no, this is really bad. This is bad. If I was 20 stone 6 last, I think it was the March before, and I continued to eat, plus losing my job and doing no exercise whatsoever, and still eating at night before bed, and not drinking any water. It's just so destructive. It's unbelievable. And I'd thought to myself, I must be at least 21 stone. That's why I say 21 stone, because I don't know exactly what it was. It would have been at least that. It was probably more than that. And it was, I mean, for ages it was getting to the stage where I was having to buy 2 extra large t-shirts and 3 extra large t-shirts. And I would genuinely use these words. I'm getting sick of these companies that are making clothes smaller. And I was genuinely saying that and believing it. And these people are, to say that, I was even uttering the words, they must be doing it to save money on material. And I mean, I'm all for conspiracy, but that is just taking the biscuit. But that's how much denial I was in with regards to my weight. And at the time, I mean, I didn't really have anyone to turn to that could give me information that could get that type of weight off me. And I did say to myself at the start, I thought if I could just even lose a stone to show myself that I can do it, that would help. Well, anyway, it got into the new year, and as we do, we set these New Year's resolutions, and they very rarely come to fruition, and this was no different. It did eventually, but it didn't happen as quickly as I thought. And what I did was I just thought, right, well, all I can do is to try and cut down the food, cut down the portions, and maybe just go a walk after my dinner or something like that. And I was doing that, and it wasn't really happening quick enough. And I then tried, I thought, well, sugar's obviously very bad. Sugar in tea and coffee's very bad. So what I did was I took the sugar out and replaced it with sweeteners. I know people will say sweeteners aren't much better, but it's still better than sugar. It's a lot healthier for you than sugar. So I did that, and even that was like, I don't like this. I mean, when you change something, you don't like it to begin with, because it's not the same as what you were getting before. That's true of anything. But eventually you do get used to it, and now I couldn't do without 2 sweeteners now. I just couldn't do it. But you get used to it. And then that it's just one thing at a time. So after that, what I did was I thought, right, what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to stop eating at night time, just directly before bed, because I would actually have something, and it wouldn't be healthy food either. It'd be something sweet, because I had a sweet tooth. And I thought I'm going to have to stop doing that directly before bed. So I would maybe have my last bit of food at 7:30, 8 o'clock, or even 9 o'clock, as long as it wasn't directly before bed. So it's just about building it up step by step. I mean, I said this to a guy on the phone lines just not long before I'd left, and he was being overwhelmed by his family, who were giving him all these goals that he needed to sort of accomplish. And he felt like a failure because he couldn't do it. And I'd said to him, look, take it one, scale the goal down, just one of them, and take it one step at a time. Just as small. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks of it. They're not walking in your shoes. And if you do it and you complete it, then you have accomplished something that you previously didn't think you could accomplish. That means the world's your oyster. The sky's the limit if you can do that. And it was the same with this. So I decided, I thought, right, just one step at a time, and there wasn't any consistency to it, but I was going for walks and stuff like that, and the consistency is absolutely paramount. It is imperative. It's where the magic happens, there's no doubt about it. So I wasn't doing it consistently, but I was, and the important thing was that I'd stuck to keeping the sweeteners and not eating at night time. And I was having odd walks here and there, and like I say, it just wasn't happening quick enough. I still pretty much felt the same. Until we're into about July 2018 now. And I don't know if any of you have seen the film Rock and Roller. It's a Guy Ritchie movie. One of the main characters in it, it's Toby Kebbell that plays him, and he plays it's supposed to be loosely based on Pete Doherty, so he had to lose a lot of weight for the role, and he's already a sort of thin guy. And I remember sitting and doing this interview, and the guy, because he played the part brilliantly, and he didn't look healthy in it. It was brilliant the way they'd done it. And the guy said to him, he said, you must have had to put your body through something serious to obviously get to into that sort of figure for the role. And he asked him how he'd done it, and he said, well, it was quite intense. He'd said that he'd done a 7-day fast, no food, obviously just water. And then after he completed the 7-day fast, he would just have the one meal at dinner time every day for 9 weeks after that. And something dropped in me then, because I thought, wait a minute here, actually. That could all this nonsense about me being built this way and not being able to lose weight. I wonder if that could work. And I remember thinking at the time, if I was unfortunate enough to be Jewish in 1930s Germany and I was put in a concentration camp, then it wouldn't really matter what your genetics were. The weight's coming off you because you're not getting fed properly. And I thought this might just be the method that helps me accomplish that. Now, when I told people I was going to do it, they reacted in horror for obvious reasons. A 7-day fast, so you're going to go 7 days without any food. I said, I'm going to try. So I started it, and it was the first 2 days were horrendous. Just absolutely horrendous. I was burying my head in pillows and everything, trying to not think about food, and it was just horrible. But see, when I got through the first 2 days, that was it. I thought, no, I was starting to feel better. Not just feel better, but you could visibly see changes. And everybody I told, they so frowned upon this. Oh, you're going to do that? Yes, I'm going to try. You can't do that. I said, but I've got the energy stored though. That's why I'm overweight. The energy's stored. This is why you're overweight, because you're storing energy. You're overeating food. You're overeating energy that you don't need to eat. So the body stores it. So what do? You fast and you diet, and it uses up that excess energy. And any time, and I do this even to this, well, not so much now, but at the time, I used to, so I remember this happened in about the 4th day, and I was starving, and I thought, and I nearly broke it, and I thought, no, I'm not doing it. And these words popped into my head, and I just kept saying to myself, you have the energy stored to get you through this hunger. You have the energy stored to get you through this hunger. More often than not, it's not even hunger. It's just in your mind. It's your art complex. Although I was hungry because I wasn't been eating, but the body was still getting what it needed because I had it stored. So that's why. They say people might argue and say that's very dangerous, but I needed results, and I'm no way recommending anyone do that. You can obviously fast. The safest one would probably be a 3-day one. You can do a 24-hour one if you want. But I needed the weight. I wanted the weight off me because I'd had enough of it. I'd had enough of eating junk food. I had enough of feeling like that, and I wanted it gone. So that was my prerogative to do so. And we've got free will. We can do what we want. So I've done it. I'm sad to report I didn't get through the 7 days, but I didn't need to because it's done its job. I got to the 6 days, and I just couldn't do it anymore. I was absolutely starving, and I mean starving. So I went and I got something to eat into me, and the worst it was too, you don't even need to eat as much after you've done it because you've just done this fast. But you could see the difference. You could visibly see the difference. It was amazing. It was really, really amazing. And after that, I just continued 1 meal a day for 9 weeks after that. And that's sort of the way it went for, it was almost a year to the day now. This only just dawned on me last week. So I just went about it, and when I was doing these fasts, I have to say, I wasn't employed at the time. I was in between things. Like I say, I was trying to get this fast, trying to get the weight off me to change my life, and it just kind of went like that. I just sort of went one meal a day for 9 weeks, and I thought, well, I'm not stopping at 9 weeks. I'm just going to keep continuing it. And then after about a year, so this was I started it in July, and then I done it for a year, 1 meal a day, 9 weeks. 1 meal a day for the 9 weeks, and then done it for a whole year to the next July. And this is the God's honest truth. Almost to the day, I literally woke up after a year of fasting and decided that I was going to teach myself how to play the guitar. And I'll be honest, I have never felt like this in my life. I've never felt like it before, and I haven't felt like it since. But I woke up, and like I say, I'll never forget it. I opened my eyes, and the first thing that popped into my head was, I want to learn how to play the guitar. And I'd said to family members and that, so I'm going to learn how to play the guitar. And they're like, what are you on about, mate? I mean, seriously? And I'm starting thinking, actually, what am I on about here? And then I thought, no, I'm going to do it. So I bought a guitar. Like I say, I can't tell you exactly. I know I bought the guitar on the 9th of July 2019. I know that because I've checked the email. But I can't remember exactly when I started the fast. But it is almost, I mean, it's quite staggering that I've almost 1 year doing that to the day that you wake up with that sort of feeling. And with that, I was determined, because I was terrible for coming up with new ideas and trying it and then just throwing it when I've had enough of this. And I was absolutely determined that it wasn't going to be one of those things. I thought, I'm not going to sit here for 2 weeks and then throw it in the bloody corner and I'll get back to it later. That was absolutely, it was not going to happen. So what I did was, I thought to myself, right, I'm 32 years of age, so that means I'm well behind. I need to get practice in so that I can sort of get the level up. So I thought, well, an hour a week's definitely not going to be enough. Even an hour a day is probably not going to be enough. And as I'm not working, I've got nothing else to do at the moment. I might as well just do it. I might as well just do it for as long as I can. So I would get up at 9 o'clock, 9:30 in the morning, and that would be me till I went to bed at the same time at night, maybe a little bit more. It'd be 10 hours a day, 9-10 hours a day, and it was madness to me that I was doing that. But I loved it. This is the thing though. This is having an addictive personality. It's not a bad thing, and I'll go into that. But it was an amazing thing, just to start doing this. And then once you start sort of learning a couple of chords, and you start putting 3 or 4 chords together, and you start hearing songs, some of your favourite songs. That's it. I got addicted to something else, something positive, something that I couldn't do without now. I just couldn't do without it now. And it's one of the best decisions I've ever made to start doing that. And my learning's continued ever since then. Now, people could say it's just a coincidence, but I wasn't doing any of this stuff before I started fasting, despite reading the books. So there must be something to it. It was like I say. I mean, anytime it doesn't matter what's going on out there. This is what I say to myself. If I go and sit with my guitar, it's just me and that instrument, and that's it. And you start playing it, and it doesn't matter what's going on outside. It's just you just get lost in this whole other world, and it amazes me. It's like 6 strings and a bit of wood, and you've just got this whole other world that it takes you to. It's just magic. It is magic. There's no doubt about it. And that was just after 1 year of fasting, and it continued. I kept doing it. I just kept, and like I said, I added this hobby to it. But I just continued with the 1 meal a day just right the way through. And then January 2020, like I said, it just kind of went like that until we got into about January 2020, which was just before the first lockdowns. And I remember I was at my grandparents' house, and I thought, because everybody was obviously telling you at this point, oh, you look great, and you've lost a lot of weight, like a lot of weight. And you're thinking to yourself, right, I've lost a lot of weight here because that's what everybody's telling me. So I hadn't weighed myself this whole time. I thought, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to continue with the method and see where it takes me. So I thought, well, it's nearly been 2 years since I started this, so I might as well just have a wee look at the scales just to see what I'm at. And I stood on the scales, and again I was 16 stone 3, and I bloody couldn't believe it. I was devastated, like I was shocked and stunned. I couldn't believe it. I thought, because all I wanted was to get maybe a stone off to see if I could do it, and then it was to get back to 14 stone, because that's roughly what I was going through school and after that, until I started smoking cannabis and not working out. That's another story, but I wanted to get back to 14 stone, so that's what I thought I was. So when I weighed myself and I was 2 stone above that, I thought, right, so the fasting, it has worked, I've got a lot of weight off me here and I feel good and all the rest of it, but it's still not enough. And it was at that point I thought, right, I'm going to have to start adding workouts or exercise of some form to this. And again, that didn't manifest itself for a couple of months. In fact, it was 3 months by the time it would. And this is what I'm like with things. I get something into my mind and I don't act on it straight away. It just sits and simmers there for a bit, and then just out of nowhere, it just boom, I'll go and do it. And then, like I say, the lockdown hit and everyone's locked in the house and you were only supposed to go outside for a walk or to go to the shop. So everybody was obviously, as an excuse, oh, well, go walking now so we can get out of the house. It was ridiculous. But anyway, I'd seen everybody doing that and I thought, well, I might as well start doing it as well then. I'll just start walking, and there's a trail here. I actually run it now, but there's a trail here. It's about anything between 3.5 and 4k. And so I started walking that. And when I started walking it, it took about an hour and 50 minutes to do it. And it was, I remember the first time I'd done it as well, up the hill before you get to the end of it. And even walking up the hill at the time was even though I'd lost all that weight, I was very, very unfit, and I'll never forget it. I thought, geez, I don't know if I'll be able to do this every day, I'm quite knackered here. But anyway, I'd done it, and I just thought, right, that's it. And this would be about April 2020. So I thought, right, that's it. I'll just keep walking and just keep taking it from there. So I started walking it. And then eventually, obviously, once you do start walking, once you're adding exercise to this, the 1 meal a day becomes, it's no longer enough. So obviously I started adding breakfast to it, and you I mean, the more you sort of get your weight down, as long as you keep the consistency and the methods and the exercise, then of course you need to add your food back to it, of course you do. But I'd started walking this, and because of that, I added I eat Alpine in the morning. Some people say that's not good for you, right? Okay, but it works for me. And then what I did was, I think it was about 3 weeks since I was walking, and then I decided that I'm actually going to start doing sit-ups on top of this. And I just, the first time I'd done them, I'd done 20, and I wasn't even doing them right because I was overweight, and I had done them for years and I was unfit. But it doesn't matter, you've made a start, you've tried. It doesn't matter if you're not doing them right. You'll continue to not do them right for as long as it takes till you start doing them right, but you will eventually start doing them right. It's as simple as that. And that's the same of anything. It was the same with the guitar. I was fucking rubbish at it to begin with. Absolutely rubbish. But people say now, they think, geez, who taught you how to do that? And it's like, well, no one taught me. I've taught myself, well, technically didn't teach myself with YouTube, but I didn't have any one-on-one lessons. But it's the same with anything. And 20 sit-ups, walking 3.5k a day or whatever it is, and I just continue to do that until you feel motivated to say, right, I'll add it up to 30 sit-ups, and that's you that decides that, no one else. You decide when you put that up. And then I'd add 30, and I'd maybe do that for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever, and then 40, and then 50. My amount now is 400. So that's how it goes. And then as I'm walking up to this location, eventually what I started to do, because you feel better obviously, a couple of weeks of walking that and fasting, you'll feel better, of course you will. I started jogging a little bit, and only jogging what I could, and this was another thing that I would never have been able to do, and people laughing at you for stopping, I've had that, but you can only do what you can do. Only do what you can do. Because eventually, I mean, I can run the whole thing now without stopping, hills and all. The only time I stop is to get a drink of water. And that comes from just building it up, piece by piece, slowly by slowly. And like I say, it's just adding it up, 10 sit-ups, and then I added 50 squats to it over time. So I would just keep this going, and then I started to give it to other people, and I gave it to my brother. Now my brother, he was in employment at the time. He was running a site, and it's obviously there was a lot of physical work involved, and he's always running, moving about. So he wouldn't have been able to. he wouldn't have been able to do it the way I'd done it because he was expending energy. And so what he did was he done a fruit fast. So he would just have fruit, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and that'd be it. And I've seen someone else do that before. That when I worked as a fisherman, there was a guy from Poland I worked with, and he showed me a picture of him, and he was massive. And I asked him, I said, how did you get your weight down? And he said, I just ate fruit for, I think he said it was 18 months or something like that. And he lost the weight. And if people will say that some fruits are too sweet, you can have it in all diet, but I mean, surely it's not going to be any worse than the diet people are on that's causing them to go overweight. I mean, see, when I was telling people that I was going to be doing that fast, the horror on their faces, and now, even now, when I say that, I mean, I finished at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock whenever I have my dinner, and that's me. I don't eat again to breakfast time. All I've done is cut 1 meal a day. I don't think we need 4 meals a day. I think 3 is sufficient enough because we need to fast for longer periods. That's what we need to do. It's much healthier. So it's called break fast because you're breaking your fast. But and I get it, like I do understand that 4 meals a day comes from a time when calories were harder to come by, and you would maybe have a meal and you didn't know where your next meal was coming from, so you would overload on things, which at that time was fine. But I still think some of that programming's still in us. It's certainly with the addictions, and it is an addiction, and that's what I wanted to say. And I've been addicted to heroin and to junk food, and I can tell you they're not that much different. Yes, the effects are different and the withdrawals are different, but it's the same state of mind. It's a similar state of mind, and the reason being is, and I've had this out with people, that the receptors, the part of the brain that accepts the receptors for junk food or whatever you want to call it is the same part that accepts cocaine and heroin. I'm not sure of the exact terminology of that, but it's using the same part of the brain as cocaine and heroin, and anyone will tell you that junk food, sugar lights up your brain like a pinball machine, and it's everywhere. Like when I decided in 2020, when I was sort of 4 months into when I just started jogging little bits, and started trying to get this routine together, and I went into Tesco's, and I went to the healthy food aisle, and you were paying £4 and £5 for a packet of nuts, and it was like, this is crazy, this. And then you would go into the junk food aisle, and I remember saying this to my brother actually. I mean, imagine you went in and one person went down the junk food aisle in Tesco's or B&M or whoever and spent £15-20, and then somebody went to the health food aisle and spent the same. Imagine the difference in the two bags of shopping. I mean, you go into bloody B&M's and it's crazy the sugar you can get for a £5. It really is madness, and yet they're wanting a £5 for a packet of nuts. And I thought, here's the problem here, and I've had this out with people when they go on about fasting and that, and this was one person that had said that, and everyone I've given these methods to, it's worked. And then this woman had said to me once, oh, I can't because of my hormones, and there will be health conditions that will prohibit people from doing these sorts of things. Of course there will be. But I'd said to her, I says, look, I've given this to people, and it's got nothing to do with your hormones. And then she started bringing up the point that, well, I've actually had people that have done these fasts, and they've actually ended up putting more weight on. And I know somebody that's done the same thing. But here's the problem. What they do is they do these fasts, and they do absolutely brilliant. They lose the weight, and then they go back to bloody eating the food they were eating before. Back to the same methods, the same lifestyle, which is pointless. And of course, the body overstores fat at that point. I can't remember the exact method, but it's something like that, it does. And I'd said to this person, I said, look, I need willpower every bloody time I go shopping. Every time I go shopping, I need willpower. I mean, I'm still a sucker for a bowl of ice cream. It just makes me so happy. I don't think I'll ever stop it, like. But that's there's nothing wrong with a treat. But I'd said to her, I says, look, I need to have willpower every single time I go shopping because of what I've just mentioned. And I says, so it's nothing to do with your hormones. It has to do with the fact that you're addicted to junk food. You're addicted to junk food. I'm still addicted to it. I've still got to fight. And I mean, at the weekends I'll maybe have something like a bowl of ice cream or something like that just to soothe myself. But I've got to remind myself, look, this is how it starts. And And it's the same with heroin addiction, although I'm way over that, it's been years now, but it's not the point. It's still the same thing. You've got to keep it in check. You've got to be in control. I think it was Confucius that said that if you can't control what you eat, you can't control anything. And that's true. That is true, because once you start to control what you eat, you can start to control a hell of a lot more. You realise that you've actually got this willpower within you. And it is the same, like I say, it's the same as drug addiction. And when I'd actually come off, when I'd stopped eating at night time, I'll never forget it. I couldn't sleep for about 3 weeks because I was used to going to bed full of sugar or whatever the ingredients are in these sweets, and that would put me to sleep. It would put me to sleep. It must have been because when I'd stopped it, it was restless. It was like restless legs and feeling warm, and that's similar to what heroin does. I mean, obviously heroin's a lot worse. There's no doubt about that, and the feeling's a lot worse. But it is similar. And people might say, well, how did you end up an overweight heroin addict? And it's like, well, it happens. I mean, I was always quite big built because I didn't understand my body or my metabolism until I started doing this. And then obviously with the sweet tooth you get from the drug. And then, I mean, I worked as a fisherman, so I always made decent money. And I mean, I remember one night I spent £30 for the shop just on ice lollies and ice cream, and me and a friend ate the lot, all of it. It's so destructive. No dictionary definitions are sufficient to describe it. And it does make people feel so bloody bad. That what they do is they go to the shop and buy more. I'll give you an example. I used to sit and I used to constantly lie to myself about what I was eating in a day. And then I would maybe have a little rundown, like at night time, 8 o'clock at night, just to sort of go over what I was eating. And I would say, right, I had that this afternoon, and I had this, and I had that chocolate bar, and I had that, and I had that, and I would be like, right, okay, that's actually not too bad today, is it? If I just keep it, if I just don't eat anything else tonight, that'll actually be quite a good day. And then something else would pop in, and I'd be like, oh, that as well, right, and I had that too, and I had that. And then something else pops in, and then you end up shutting it off and saying, all right. And I used to do this crazy thing where, because I was so ashamed and I was basically angry with myself for eating all that food in one day, and then thinking that I hadn't ate that much, and then reminding myself that I'd had, it made me feel so bad that before I knew it, I would be in the local shop buying more sweeties and more food. And another thing I used to do as well, I used to stand in the shop and I would buy whatever, I'd buy ridiculous amounts of things, and then you would maybe see something else and you'd think, no, I've got enough here, I'm not going to buy that. And then it'd maybe be like 9 at night, and you'd be like, well, if I don't buy it now, the shop's going to be shut and I'm not going to be able to get it. So if I don't buy it, I'm going to be annoyed if I don't. So I might as well just get it, and used to lie, so I'll keep it for tomorrow. But it was just lies, and you would buy it and eat it that night. And where I'm going with this is that we need to treat this as an addiction, because that is what it is. And it's actually worse in ways, because it's not as frowned upon. I mean, I was in heroin, you get heroin, like, you get discriminated, of course, and people don't like it, they don't want to be around you and all the rest of it, and it isn't nice. Junk food, yes, I know there's a stigma attached to being overweight, but it's to feed your habit. I mean, all you really need is a couple of pounds to go down, like I said there, a £5 to go into B&M, and you'll have your day's worth, and it's just so easy to get a hold of. And it's the same with alcohol, it's just so bloody easy to get a hold of. It's just a case of getting a £5 together and going down to the local shop. Whereas sometimes that's not possible with harder drugs and illegal drugs. It is with alcohol though. And it's just about changing your thinking. And I know that the more junk food you eat, the worse you feel. You feel bad. You feel so the worse you feel, the more you're going to eat. That's what stuffing your feelings is. And it must be really bad now. I mean, with everything that's going on in the world, like, it must be terrible. If you've got the money to buy it, that is, and that's what I was going to say as well. If you're going to bed at night and you are looking at this from a negative perspective, like, I'm not getting enough money from my job or from the job centre, whatever the case may be. I've only got enough to feed my kids and I'm having to go without. I'm lying in bed tonight. I've not had anything since my dinner. I'm fasting. I'm really hungry, and I haven't got enough to eat. This is no good. I can't take it. That's a negative light. It's hard to do that because if you're coming at it from a negative perspective, you're not going to get anything out of it because you're harbouring these negative emotions, which it's just not good for you. I mean, fear will poison your soul, man. It poisons your body. It will put you in the bloody hospital, and that's what that can do. But if you look at it from a positive, you say, well, actually, I'm going to start fasting to reset my body. It doesn't just reset your body, it resets your immune system, it resets your mind. It resets your mind. If you can look at that from a positive, like to say, yes, I'm hungry, of course I am, but this is going to benefit me because it's going to reset my immune system, it's going to clear toxins out my body, and it's going to reset my mind. And if you can keep on doing it, you will change your life. There's no doubt about it. And there's some other little things I'm going to put in that will change your life as well. But first and foremost, if you're having a problem eating junk food or you don't want to stop eating it, and I know everyone needs their vices. Some people don't drink. I still smoke a joint of cannabis at night. I don't care what anyone thinks of that. That helps me. I don't drink alcohol. I don't smoke tobacco. I don't smoke cigarettes. I don't take any other drugs. Just that. That's it. So I think everyone needs what they need to get through, and I don't impose my will on anyone else. I don't do it through the day. I just do one at night. It stimulates my mind when I'm reading books or when I'm playing my guitar or whatever. So everyone should deserve, and I'm not demonising this. I mean, obviously, you can still have your treat. You can still have a cheat day, as I call it. Usually I have it on a Saturday. That'll be the day I have my ice cream. But we need to start seeing it as an addiction that we can conquer. And once you start treating it like that, you will get around it. There's no doubt about it. And then, like I say, the fasting will add stuff to your mind. So you will start to want to learn different things. Because when we step into uncomfortable situations, it builds different parts to us. And that's not a philosophical view. There's actually some literature on that. Jordan Peterson talks about it, as do many other. Joe Dispenza's another one. How that you put yourself into these new situations and it literally builds parts to yourself because the potential's harboured within your DNA, but we can't unlock it unless we put ourselves in these uncomfortable positions. Well, the thought of me doing these videos even 3 years ago, sitting doing videos on YouTube, posting them to people watching, no chance. But then when you do it, it builds a new part and you want to keep doing it because it's still get a sweat on, you still get nervous, but you've built new parts to yourself, and this is why you should never ever give up. And I think the best example I've probably heard about this is probably if you look at Denzel Washington, the famous actor's journey. Now he had been to literally, and I've heard him tell this story, literally been to hundreds of auditions, and he was being told constantly that he wasn't an actor. You're never going to get a paid acting job. You'd as well just go and find in yourself something that you're good at that you can actually do, that you can make a living off. And he was determined. No, I want to be an actor. You're not an actor, mate. So he kept going to these auditions, and every time I went, it got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. But he said something was inside of me, and it's the same thing I knew was inside of me, and it's the same thing that's inside of you, to tell me to keep on going. And whatever you choose, that something inside will assist you to get there. And eventually, look at him now. I mean, he's regarded as one of the best actors ever. And many actors will have that story. And that just comes from putting yourself in uncomfortable positions. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. That's the way I'd heard it not that long ago. And I stand under a cold shower every day now after my workout. I absolutely despise it. It's horrible. Hate freezing cold, and I couldn't do it for ages. I've tried to do it for about a year and a half, and I would stand under it for a second, like, oh no, for that, no chance. And I've done that for ages, and eventually you just do it. And then now I can stand under it for like maybe a minute, but it's still horrible. But the feeling you get after it's amazing. It really is amazing, because the cold can benefit you as well. And this all just comes from placing yourself in new positions or new outlooks, even changing your thinking about yourself to think, well, no, I'm better than this. I might be where I'm at just now, but that doesn't mean to say I can't change this thinking. It's your thinking that's brought you there. Once you change the thinking to say, well, no, I'm much better than this, and I'm going to do better, It's going to take hard work. It's maybe going to take a long time, but it'll get there. And I've had people say to me, oh, you've been overnight success. It's not. This has been 10 years in the making, me doing this. Or me trying to get to do something that I really enjoy doing by helping people. It takes time, and it's not without its tears. There's many challenges that come up amongst it, but you don't become a better person in spite of the challenges. You become a better person because of them. And some would say that failure is inevitable. Others would say it's necessary. And I tend to agree because of what I've just explained. When you're building new parts to yourself, you need to fail. And I think the harder you fail or the harder you fall, the better the parts get built back, or the better the parts that do get built are far better. So that's why, and I always use this saying, like, it doesn't matter how dark the tunnel is. The darker the tunnel, rather, the brighter the light is at the end of it. And I actually get this with workouts, and believe me, there are days, and it happens all the time, where it's workout time, and I think to myself, I can't be bothered doing this today, and I really don't want to do this today. Like the feeling where you just don't feel like you've got the energy. You start doing sit-ups, and it feels like you've never done them before. And it's just absolutely horrible. It's like, ugh, it's horrible. It's not nice. But somehow, if you can manage to get through that when you do complete the workout, you feel 10 times better. And the more depressed that you are about doing the workout, if you can manage to get through it, the better you'll be after it. And that's the same with anything. And I'm living proof of that. I'm actually living proof that as long as you change your thinking, again, I wasn't regarded as intelligent, not by any stretch of the imagination. Every job I'd done, I was classed as useless. I couldn't do it because my heart wasn't in it. I knew that I wanted something more, but I didn't know what it was, so you can't help yourself. I thought that I was a failure because I kept failing. Just because you're failing, it doesn't make you a failure. It makes you human is what it does. And again, it's necessary to build these parts back, so don't worry if you're failing. Keep failing, because it'll eventually go right for you. I didn't think that I could get into reading any books, and I eventually got into reading books, and I still struggle with that. I mean, I do still struggle with that. I've got to force myself sometimes. But even if you can just force yourself to read 10 pages or 15 pages, it's the same with my Spanish lessons. Sometimes there are periods of time where because it boggles, it hurts your head sometimes because you're flipping a language upside down. And there's some days where I can't be bothered with this, but I need to do it to keep my streak going, because I don't want to break the streak. So that keeps you motivated to do it. But even if you just do it for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, you've still done it. You've still kept that consistency. And eventually, that might go on for a while, but you start to increase the time again, as I've done it this week, the last couple of weeks, in fact. So it's important to remember that just because you've done things wrong, or it's went wrong for you, and I don't care how many times. I mean, I've failed more times. I've made every mistake there is to make. I say this to my siblings all the time. I'm the oldest. I say this to my younger siblings all the time. I've made all the mistakes there is to make, which should help you a bit better. Now, that said, people still need to make their own mistakes. Of course they do. Because if they don't, then those parts I mentioned aren't going to get built better, are they? It's just not going to happen because they're not making their own mistakes. You can learn from other people's mistakes. Of course you can. But then when you go into your own adventure your own, you'll have your own mistakes to make. But again, don't worry about it. They're necessary. I mean, it's like in Batman when they say, why do we fall? So that we can learn to get back up. And this is the same thing. And once you start to see the first results of whatever it is you choose to do, you'll be amazed and you'll want to keep on doing it. And this is how you keep the dopamine going. This is why there's a group of people in Japan, they're called centurions. They're over 100 years old. And they're still doing the same things they were doing in their 40s, riding bicycles and doing everything they were doing that they were doing in their 40s. And one of them was asked how they accomplished this, and they're all on plant-based diets because food's medicine. They've got community, they learn new things, and they exercise. Now, they say learning new things, that's very, very important, because the brain's an organ, it's an organ. And it's one of the biggest in the body, I'm sure. Well, anyway, it's like a muscle. You need to work it. And so many people, what they do is they sort of learn their trade, or they learn what they need to learn to make their money, and that's it. They watch the TV, or they don't bother with anything, learning anything new. Of course they've got hobbies, but they don't bother with anything new. And that's not good for the mind. It ages the mind, ages the brain. So if you start learning new things, it doesn't matter what it is. I don't care what it is. There'll be something that you've wanted to know or you've wanted to learn. Go and learn it. I don't care what anybody else thinks of you for it. If they are bringing you down during that, get rid of them as I did, because they're sowing doubt in your mind. And if no one else needs to believe it, only you do. Always remember that. And learning new things keeps the mind young. And one of the best things for it is to learn a new language. And that's why I've done it. And like I'm 480 odd days into it. It's probably more than that now. Actually, I can't remember the exact number when I seen it this morning. But that's what keeps the mind young. It keeps it younger. So you don't have to learn Spanish. You don't even have to learn a language. Just learn something new. And then once you've done that, learn something else. And keep learning and keep going. It never ends. Education never ends. And that's why, probably why a lot of millionaires end up depressed, because they're obsessed with having millions of pounds and chasing this dream of millions and millions of pounds, and then they get there and then they realise that it wasn't what they thought it was. It's just £1 million on the screen. Then they think, right, maybe it's 2 million I need. No, it's not. It's something else. You've done that. It's moving on to the next thing. It's like the dreams they sell us, man. It's like the dreams they sell us are like the bits of cheese and the weight of the mousetrap. That's what it is. That's the way I look at it. That's why you need to make your own dreams. Don't be sold a dream by someone else. As long as it matters to you, as long as you're passionate about it, that's really all that matters. And again, no one else. It's no one else's business. When I first started going through my awakening 10 years ago now, nearly 10 years ago now, I was laughed at, I was ridiculed, I was called a conspiracy theorist, I was called an idiot, I was just a junkie that didn't know what he was on about. And it was the same when COVID started, I was saying all the stuff about that, and I was an idiot, all that stuff. And they spent years laughing, and they probably do it to you'd probably do it to you as well. You've probably got people in your life that are doing that as well. But see, the thing about it is, they laugh until you turn it around, and then they can't look at you. And you'll see that. And the reason they can't look at you is because they feel awkward, because they've spent however long, berating you and slagging you off behind your back. But once you do change it around and you do become the person that you've always known you were going to be, they then feel embarrassed. And that's the way it goes. So I'm here to tell you that you can do it. People say to me, oh, you're special, you're sent for God. Look, I've said before, I'm not special. If that does happen to be the case, that I've been special and sent by God, then I'm only here to remind you that you're special too. And I'm not here to save you. You're here to save yourself. People saying that I'm their saviour, and it's like, no, you're your saviour. Humanity is the saviour that we have been waiting on. And once we realise that the game's over, and I've said this many times in comments and in messages, once we realise the power's with us, the power's with our mind, that's why they need to steal our minds, because they need to control that. This is what the microchips are all about, and I'll go into that in another video. That's coming up as well. But they need to steal your mind. They need to convince you that you are the opposite to what you actually are. That's what I meant when I used the fish tank analogy. When they're holding the ball in the bottom of the fish tank, they need to hold it there all the time. The minute they take their hand off, it springs out. Well, that's what an awakening is. Once you awaken, the ball springs to the top again, and then that's it. You're ready to begin. And all this nonsense that was taught in school and all the rest of it. School, beyond reading and writing and meeting people and learning how to obviously interact, it's completely useless. It'll never ever build your mind up. I don't care what anybody says. I look at some of the schoolwork that my nephews get, and it's ridiculous. It's just like, it is ridiculous. And I've been accused of, well, why should we listen to you? Because you weren't intelligent at school. And it's, well, high school is definitely no measure of intelligence. Look at it now. They're bloody telling people that, or trying to tell kids that men and women are the same, and they're not. That's a fact. You can identify with whatever you want, but men and women will always be different. It's as simple as that. Gender is not chosen at birth. It's chosen at conception. And you can identify as a bloody radiator if you want. That'll never change. Sorry, I'm going off track a bit there. Yeah, so it's literally just about believing in yourself. It's about believing in yourself. It's literally, and people say to me, it can't be that easy, Alan. It is. That is all I've done, is to change my thinking. To think, I am better than that. I am not Alan McClement. This is just the experience that I'm having. I'm an awareness. I'm a signal. I'm an electromagnetic field that's in the world but not of it. And we need to, everybody's like, every single person is part of the same energy. And once you realise that and you change your thinking to say, no, I'm better than that. I'm not inferior to him. See, this is the thing. When people get inferior to other people, they look at them and they think, oh, look at him, he looks great. But they don't see what's gone into that, or what he's had to do to get there, or what she's had to do to get there. They only see the finished product, but they don't see the sort of the backstory to it. Now, I seen this video actually. It wasn't that long ago, and what it was two trajectories with a ball on each side. One trajectory was a straight line, the other one was the same, but it was going up and down. And it was describing why a life of ups and downs gets you to your destination quicker than what a straight line does. And these two balls and these trajectories absolutely showed that. A straight line ball, yes, it'll go straight, it'll be nice, there's no bumps or anything like that, and it'll get to the destination. But then you look at the other side, and the ball's up and down, and it gets to the destination far quicker. And it's probably to do with the fact that you're going along nicely, you sort of come to an obstacle, a mound, you struggle to get to the top of it, but when you do, it builds those new parts, and then you sail down the hill to the next bit, and then you move on to the next thing that you don't know anything about. You start learning that, and then you move up that part, and it's just, that's building new parts. That building new parts and learning new things can be described within those two trajectories. So always remember that. Always remember that. The ups and downs are a quicker way to your destination than a straightforward line. So it's just about changing your thinking. It's your choice. You've got free will. Everyone's got free will, but we give it up, or we give our power up because we think we don't have any. We say to ourselves, well, what can I do? Well, one thing you can do is you can change your thinking to not think the way they want you to think. So they want you to think that you're just a human being, you're in a solid body, you've got your job and that's who you are. You live through the life, you pay your bills, you die, and that's it. That's nonsense. You can say, well, that's not me. That's the experience I'm having, but I'm from another place. I'm in this world, but I'm not of it. I'm from an energy which is pure love, pure consciousness. And within that, and because of that, I can achieve and become whoever I want. And I said this to my brother earlier on, I used to sit and dream about being able to play the guitar. I used to sit and dream about being in an athletic body. I used to sit and dream about being able to speak Spanish. I used to sit and dream about the current lifestyle that I'm on now with regards to my diet. This was all a dream, it was all a vision in here, but unless you've got it in there, it's not going to come into reality, and you need to have the vision. I think I said that in another video. And I mean, my schedule today, I'll just briefly tell you what it is. So first thing I do in the morning is, so I'll have a bottle of water or a glass of water sitting next to my bed. There's a bottle because I don't want the bubbles in it, but I'll have a bottle of water sitting next to my bed, because the body, while the body's sleeping, it builds up more toxins than any other time of the day apparently. So it's good to obviously take what's known as an alternative shower. It's an internal shower first thing in the morning when you wake up, and I also take 2 Irish sea moss tablets or sea moss tablets with it. I'll then obviously have my breakfast, which consists of a banana, a glass of smoothie, a bowl of Alpen, and a glass of cucumber and lemon water, which is just magic juice. It's amazing. It's good for your skin, your immune system, your digestive system, you name it. And I'm going to do a video on how I make that. It's very, very easy. It's very cheap as well. But I'll do that in probably the next couple of days or something like that and get it put on. And then obviously at lunch, just before, that's usually about 8 o'clock in the morning, I'll have that. And then about 11 I'll have a bit of burnt toast and another banana with another small glass of smoothie. It's just 150ml. And then at dinner time I'll have my vegetables, potato and leek soup or tomato soup or something like that with my bread, along with just bits of other fruit through the day. I mean, you can try kiwis, blueberries, all these things they're all medicine. And I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to do a couple more videos. One's going to be titled Food is Medicine, so that you can obviously see some of the benefits of superfoods, because they're absolutely medicine, there's no doubt about it. I mean, they will heal any illnesses that you've got, especially cucumber and lemon water. I mean, I've drank it for nearly 2 years now, and I swear to God, it has been the best thing I've ever done. It's amazing stuff. The energy I get off it in the morning is just amazing. And I mean, if you want 3 things to change your life, even just to start now, that's pretty simple. So you could start by saying, right, I'm not going to eat 3 hours before I go to bed. I'll have a bottle of water sitting next to my bed for when I wake up to take the alternative shower. And just make sure you consistently get 8 hours of sleep or whatever it is you need, because I know everyone's different. And those 3 things will absolutely change your life, because they will make you feel better mentally and physically, which motivates you more. The more motivation you've got, the better. And motivation doesn't last though as well. This is where the discipline comes in. So motivation then leads to discipline. Motivation isn't hard to come by, but motivation is very easy to come by, but keeping your discipline can be very difficult. And that's what I meant before. Even if you're feeling bad and you don't want to do it, at least try and do something just to keep the consistency, because that's where the magic is. And then that will eventually lead to consistency, which leads to growth. And that's what changes your life. And there's another thing I need to say as well. Any decisions you make with regards to this, don't do what I done and go and tell everyone I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Just silently make the decision and go and do it. Because if you start telling people, not everyone's happy for you. That's another thing I'd learned. In fact, very few people are. Very few people want the best for you. I was always being told, it'd be nice to see you sort yourself out, but the people that shouted that the loudest are the least vocal now about saying, oh well, it's nice to see you've done it. So it's just bullshit that you get from people, and they sow doubt in your mind. And that's if you're in a group of friends that are sowing doubt in your mind and they're laughing at every idea you come up with, as they did with me, then you need to lose them. I don't care how close you are. I don't care how long you've known each other. You need to lose them. If you need to get them out of your life if you want to live your dream. If you want to live the best version of yourself, you need to get them out of your life, because they're not helping you. And peer pressure can be it can be very hard, because, well, when I was younger, I just wanted to be part of the crowd, but that's the thing though, you join the crowd. Do you know what happens when you join the crowd? You become ordinary, because they're all ordinary. I'm not all crowds, certainly most of the ones that I was around, they were ordinary. And then to join them, because the crowd's got a frequency, so you need to lower your frequency to the same as the crowd to be able to join it. Because if you don't, well, you're not going to be welcome. That means you change yourself. But when you change it back, you gravitate away. You come away from them. And that's what happens. You sort of go back to the person who you really were. And so many people I speak to as well, they don't like being on their own. It's, look, you need to learn to be on your own. Go and learn, go and find it, sit in a quiet room, and listen to classical music or Hans Zimmer. I recommend it, absolutely brilliant. The motivational videos with his music in it absolutely changed my mind about myself. And that was spelling. Right, if you look at words, the information I was telling you to change you need to change the information that's playing. Well, that's watching videos like that's changing the information that's playing. And it's like Bruce Lee used to say it, don't ever speak negatively about yourself, because it casts spells on you. That's why that's what it's called, spelling. So that's why he used to say, don't ever speak negative about yourself. And he had some brilliant quotes. And there's another one that he'd said is also that if you are thinking about learning something new, and he was having an interview one day, and he said, look, I don't fear the guy that can kick 10,000 different ways. I fear the guy that can kick one way, but he's practiced it 10,000 times. And that's true, of anything. And basically what he's saying there is whatever it is you choose, as long as you practice it and consistently practice it, you will get good at it. We're amazing. We're absolutely genius waiting to happen. Every single last one of you. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. I don't care what your name is. I don't care what you've done in the past. I don't care where you're at now. All you need to do is to change that thinking. Make a decision that you're going to, not what, but who you're going to be. Make that decision. And then go for it. And don't tell anyone. And I can promise you, it will change the game. Speak nicer to yourself as well. I can, I can, I can. That's it. I can, I will. It's just, like I said before as well, when you're needing to, if you're feeling hungry when you're fasting, I have the energy stored to see me through this hunger. I go to bed every night hungry, not starving, but hungry. I feel hungry every night I go to bed. I will feel that. And sometimes I get a bit dizzy or whatever, and I need to go and maybe have a glass of smoothie or something just to sort of get me through, a couple of grapes or something. But when I wake up in the morning, that hunger's gone. Obviously you get up about an hour, after about half an hour, 45 minutes, you start to need your breakfast, but surely if you were starving before you went to bed, and if you were genuinely hungry, surely you'd be starving as soon as you woke up. But it's a lot of it's in your, everything's in your mind. Absolutely everything's in your mind. Drug addiction's in your mind. Everything is. All addictions. We create reality. That's why I called this channel We Are the Wing Makers, because we make our own wings and we can fly to any destination that we want. And that's it. That's it. Really, that's all. I'd say that's all you need to do. Like, but that's what you need to do. It's just about changing your thinking. And it can be done. I said it before. If I can do it, anyone can. Absolutely anyone can do this. It's just, you just need to be serious about it, and you just need to have the belief in yourself. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to be easy either. But I'll say it again, nothing that's worthwhile ever is. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. And you will do it though. Everybody can do it. That's a fact. It's just that you need to change your mindset. It's all about in here. It's all about the mindset. You change in here, and out there changes. Absolutely it does. It is amazing what you can do with an open mind and a wee bit of spare time and an open heart. Open your heart and say, I am consciously going to become a better person, and they'll say no good deed goes unpunished, like, and that tends to happen as well, where you do nice things and then something bad happens, and a lot of people say, well, I'm not doing a nice thing again, but you've just got to keep going. Again, consistency. Consistency is key to everything, regardless of what you do. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what I wanted to say about my weight loss journey. I think I've tried to cover as much as I can. If there is any other questions that you've got about this or what was on the previous video, then you can obviously leave it in the comment section or get in contact with me on Instagram. I don't mind providing you any information or schedules. I'm also going to post the motivational videos that I mentioned. I'm also going to post them as well, links to them. They immensely help me. They might not help you. See, just because they help me or the books that I read have helped me, it doesn't mean to say they'll help everyone else, but you can always try it. So I will post them and you'll see what I mean. And I mean, I can remember when I first started posting them, people used to laugh at me, but they can laugh all they want. I mean, they're not laughing now when you change your life, and that was the starting point to changing my life. It got me to change my thinking about myself, and if that worked for me, then I'm sure it can work for some of you as well. So I'll get them posted. Again, I would just like to thank everybody for your support. I mean, I just love yous all. Your words are amazing. So kind and so loving, and people do want change. You can see it, and I can promise you, if you just follow some of the stuff that you've heard in this video, this world will be very, very different, and that will happen overnight, because we create this reality. They rely on us to create this for them, and we need to hold it up for them, and we can bring it down. And don't ever forget, yes, we might have given our power away, but the good news is, if you've given something away, it means you can take it back. And take it back you will. And thank you again for watching my video, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.